Welcome to Loving Out Loud, how to improve communication, sustain sexual passion, and create lasting love relationships. My name is Paula Smith, and I'm your summit host. Loving Out Loud is about loving fiercely and showing up in a different way to create a new reality, one that allows you to access your deepest truths and desires. No matter where you are in the love and life cycle, Loving Out Loud is a prescription for awakening your heart, your mind, and your body to a deeper consciousness and a more authentic and intentional self-expression. Welcome to Loving Out Loud. My guests today are Doctors Harville Hendrix and Helen Lakelly Hunt. Dr. Harville Hendrix is a couples therapist with over 40 years experience. He and his wife, Helen Lakelly Hunt, co-created Imago Relationship Therapy, a therapy for couples now practiced by over 2,000 certified therapists in 30 countries. Dr. Hendrix and his wife have co-authored 10 books on intimate relationships and parenting, including their most recent book, Making Marriage Simple. Dr. Hendrix has been featured on The Oprah Winfrey Show 18 times, winning Oprah her first Emmy for Most Socially Redemptive Daytime Talk Show. He and his wife reside in New York City and have been married 29 years. They also have 6 children and 5 grandchildren. Dr. Helen Lakelly Hunt was elected to the Women's Hall of Fame for her dedication to the empowerment of women as an author and activist. She has co-founded the Institute for Imago Relationship Therapy and co-authored several best-selling books with her husband, Harville Hendrix. Harville and Helen have co-authored several books on Imago Relationship Therapy, including the recent national bestseller, Receiving Love, Transforming Your Relationship by Letting Yourself Be Loved. Helen's most recent title is Faith and Feminism, a Holy Alliance. This is our recent conversation. Harville Hendrix, Helen Lakelly Hunt, welcome to Loving Out Loud.
Thank you, Paula. Glad to be on.
Great to be here.
It's such an honor and a pleasure to have you back on my summit. You were on Relationship Revolution, and we recorded down in New Orleans at the conference, and it was really beautiful.
Right.
Yep.
All right.
So thank you so much for taking the time to speak to our watching audience, because we are video this time.
So thank you for having us. We're honored to be invited.
Great. So you guys are traveling around the world, encouraging couples to take the Zero Negativity Challenge. Can you tell us what that is? What's zero negativity? What does that mean?
Well, zero negativity refers to ending negativity. That is, that the zero negativity state would be that couples would interact with each other without putting each other down.
Yeah.
And by put downs, we mean anything that's negative, from an control to a tone of voice to a harsh look, a glare, words, all the way down to violence or murder. That there's no interaction that makes another person less valuable than you are. Mm-hmm. That would be what we call the zero negativity as an interaction. And as a state, we think of zero negativity as the human dream, that all of us want to live in a world where without judgment, where we are not devalued or abused in any way. And what we haven't really said a lot about is how negativity can be expressed so subtly and corrosively, just by tone of voice or eye roll or one or two words or just a grunt. We're just not aware of how much that is. So to bring that all into awareness and invite people to live with intentionality about how they interact with their partner, so that every interaction is an affirmation rather than a defamation. Hey, that's a good way to put it. I hadn't thought about that before.
I like that.
So that's what zero negativity is. And I think another definition we have worked with is that zero negativity is looking through, zero negativity is looking at the world through the eyes of love. That love cannot be born when you are negating your partner in any way, shape, or form. Love, the basic power in love is affirmation of the other, acknowledgement and affirmation. So if you're negative, you're obviously not loving, because this other person is interfering with the way you wish the world were, meaning that you wish this partner were somebody else or was doing something else, but not lovable in their original essence. They have to change in some way so that our discomfort level with them goes down, and then we'll love you. But zero negativity is also a radical form of acceptance. You are who you are, and my job is to not impose on you my wish about who you were before I value you. But I value you for who you are, and that's looking at your partner through the eyes of love rather than judgment.
I can add on to that.
Yes, thanks,
Helen. That zero negativity is for everybody, whether you realize you're being negative or not. And in the case of moi, like I never considered myself a negative person, and no one I ever knew, I think, would describe me as a negative person. I was raised to be a Southern belle, and I am so nice. I am just so nice. And Harville was so miserable in our marriage. He was, I didn't understand it, that he just got more and more miserable every month and year by year. And so it can teach a person ways that they don't mean to be negative, but they are. A couple sort of flags with one another when they experience negativity. And in my case, I was just trained to be helpful. And so when I married Harville, I sort of committed to help him in any ways that I could, especially to help improve him. Because if I didn't, he was good enough. So I would just make lists, and not a day went by that I didn't have some good technical assistance to offer his life or his plan life, and it was accurate, but it can land negatively on your poor partner. And so it can just raise consciousness to all of us about how we can change how we are with someone else so that we don't inadvertently land negative on them.
Yeah, I think some people say, well, what about constructive criticism?
My favorite. My
favorite.
My specialty.
This is going to help you if you'll let me tell you how you're not okay. And I think what we've arrived at is all criticism is destructive. There's no such thing as constructive criticism. There are other ways to communicate your needs and the tension of difference than putting each other down.
Right. So, okay, we are just sort of saturated, right? In television, you turn on the computer, on Facebook, right? I mean,
Yes.
It's sort of sensationalized in the fabric of our culture, right? So how do we start to move away from negativity?
Well, I think that's a huge question and would require probably a wiser person to answer than I am. Helen could probably answer that. But where I start, I think, is where we've started, and that is with awareness ourselves about the negativity, and that it's not so much internal processing, but it's the interaction that we're concerned about.
Okay.
How do I interact when I talk to Helen or look at her?
Yep.
That's a transaction. in interaction, and that has to be that. The second, and so then once we became aware about how that was the problem in our relationship, that the problems that we had were not our problems. The problem was the negativity that surrounded it. It was sort of like that was the atmosphere in the relationship, so that any problems about parenting or, you know, lovemaking or where we're going to go on vacation, you couldn't deal with them because there was in a sea of toxicity, and the toxicity would interfere with this dealing with difference and dealing with wishes and desires. So what our view is that we need to make this conscious in the culture. So we have decided to take a variety of steps to do that, and one is to respond to requests like yours, to make it visible to webinars, like 2 million people. That's a good number. We have a chapter, Helen pulled together a book called Making Marriage Simple, which is a beautiful, very concise and precise book, and in that is a chapter. So that's a distribution of the concept. We have a app that is available for free called Safe Conversations on, just go to iTunes or Android. Also beginning to lay the foundation to launch a global negativity day. And we haven't set the date yet, but we're beginning to set the infrastructure for that. So we think that public awareness and education is the way to do it, just so that people can be aware that they don't know that when they say what, that they're basically devaluing their partner.
Right. So, you know, as you're talking, Harville, I'm thinking about like sobriety. You know, like when someone stops drinking or drugging or doing some kind of addictive behavior, it's sort of one day at a time, right?
Exactly, one day at a time.
One day at a time. Yeah.
And and we are amplifying that, making that a little tougher by inviting people to take a zero negativity pledge for 30 days.
30 days.
And then, and Helen, in her brilliance long ago, as a co-creator of Imago, co-created this zero negativity process, which she introduced a calendar. And her invitation was that we look at a calendar every day and put a mark on it, the days that we were negativity free, put a smiley face on the calendar, and if either one of us did a put down, we'd put a frowny face on it, so that we could monitor our own interactions, because you can kind of go through the day and do a few things, and then you do it again tomorrow, and after a while, you don't know that you have done so many negations that you're now defended and not feeling spontaneous and safe. So this is a way to monitor it. So we're inviting people with a packet that's in that, or just go buy your own calendar and regulate and become aware of it, so that you become intentional about moving into a different mindset. And I think the ultimate mindset is that I accept you. I acknowledge you, I accept you, I appreciate you, you're not me, and then when I get upset, it's usually because you're not the person I wish you were, which means I'm not in love with you, but I'm in love with an idealized image. And therefore, that's not love, that's loving me, and what I need to move out of that. It's a mindset as well. So we think it requires daily practice. Yeah.
And you know, my wife and I, we've been taking the challenge.
Oh, you have to.
And I wear
every challenge and bracelet.
Yep, every day I wear it and I give it to my clients, and it's amazing. And so I love the reset button.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we have to reset. But it's getting easier. It's really getting easier. So the more you practice. So what happened? So, you know, I know this was born out of your Imago work and your own work as a couple. How did you recognize that was, and you may have spoken to this a little, was destroying your relationship? So what actually happened?
What happened was just simply the buildup of negative exchanges that neither of us knew how to handle, to the degree that we went for therapy and after firing a couple therapists because we're the experts and we were not going to let a therapist tell us anything, the last therapist we saw fired us and called us the couple from hell. And we were just a hopeless case. So we were talking to a divorce lawyer, and that's through a sort of interesting story that I don't have time to tell here. We began to realize we were unknowingly scrutinizing each other negatively, and I think the bottom line is that our culture teaches us to be healthy individuals. That is, it teaches us to be, separate from dependency and become independent, autonomous, self-reliant. We're every day at school encouraged to excel, to compete, to win. And so we all have that energy in us, and no one teaches us how to relate or how to connect.
Right.
And as Harville and I have thought more about imago theory, what's needed in relationships is safety between two people. Because two people, if there's anything that makes either one feel unsafe, the person sort of disappears behind their defense. They defend themselves against their partner, and they go into hiding because they're afraid their partner is going to send another arrow, or in my case, make yet another suggestion on how Harville could improve himself or whatever. And so Harville went into hiding. I went into hiding, given his response to all my help. And here we were struggling as two experts who didn't know how to have a healthy relationship until we put up that calendar. And like you said, it was a day at a time.
It was a day.
That every day, seeing if at the end of the day we could have a smiley face. And we've read all the books in the culture on relationships and studied all the research. It took little smiley faces on a calendar from Walmart and little frowny faces that like pricked our awareness enough to know that both of us needed to change our behavior. So the guideline is that if I experience something from Harville that feels negative to me, he may not have meant it as negative, but if I experience it as negative, I say an ouch or a bing. And I say it very nicely so it won't land negatively on him. I go, oh, that was a little bit of an ouch to me, or that was a bing, and he goes, what? I go, boy, and then I offer, would you say that again? It's so negative, and I might model it for him. Would you say that again with this tone of voice? And he'd go, oh, sure. And he does it again, and yet, like you said, it's a moment of triumph because you change the negativity into a safe exchange. So it's all about creating safety in the relationship.
So, what I love about...
I was going to say that one of the things that Don Gottman, who's done research on couples for the last 30 years, is the world's leading researcher, says one of his aphorisms is the importance of the immediacy of repair. In that the sign of a healthy relationship is how quickly do you repair. Not that you hurt, but that you repair. I try to go beyond that and say, I think that's really great that you do repairs quickly, but it's also really important to not hurt so that you don't have a repair. So for a while, the reset button is a sign of victory, that we're repairing. But I'm hoping that after a while, the reset buttons will go away.
Because it still hurts.
Because you will become aware of it. It still hurts.
And
that we have to ultimately become conscious enough, aware enough of how we are expressing ourselves, that we regulate zero negativity, we regulate negativity to zero. And then and only then can you predictably feel safe when you know that that's really the deal. You may still blow it, but you know that neither partner has any intention of indulging themselves in a negative transaction.
So I think, so it sounded like you you were beginning to answer my next question. Is like, what if one partner wants to not be negative, but the other partner doesn't want to be wants to be negative? So it's almost like a teaching.
Yeah, I think it's and I think that complementarity is in most couples. You know, most couples are complementary. Mm-hmm. One usually more motivated than the other one. And I think that, and Helen, I'd be interested, because I don't think we've sort of posed that question before, is that the more motivated partner really needs to take an initiative and become a stabilizing force, like move out and not call attention to how virtuous you are, but actually just go to negativity. And then that really highlights how negative the other partner is. I think they will become more aware of that and will probably become interested in it. Because if Helen is really loving and kind and warm and caring, I'm really feeling safe and so forth, and therefore I will do kind and wonderful, caring things for her. Right. So there's a sort of thing like that. But it's really important that both people have some commitment, right, so there's a partnership.
Yeah. I think it's important for two people to spend time asking each other what they want in the relationship. What is their vision for their relationship? Mm-hmm. And for both people to begin to say, you know, if we had the relationship I would most want, we would be feeling, we'd be doing this and doing that, and sort of to talk about what they want, and then see if negativity might be a hindrance to them getting at their goals. Right. But really, if someone does feel like negativity, oh, it's okay. You know, really modeling accepting that for a while, mm-hmm, and modeling, you know, being able to hold that and putting out requests. And anyway, I do think a healthy relationship is an IQ test. Mm-hmm. Take what is said in a video or in a book and then figure it out, tinker with it, and make it work in your relationship.
And one of the other things, Paula, that we do in workshops and in lectures is there's now a science of negativity.
Yes.
And there's not much of a science of zero negativity yet, because that phenomenon is sort of the dream of the human heart, so nobody researches. It's sort of zero negativity really means love. And we don't have a whole lot of research on love. But we do have a lot of research on the negative impact of negativity on your blood chemistry, that it creates cortisol. Mm-hmm. Cortisol impacts the immune system. So you feel bad and you get sick more often. Right. So and there are a whole range of things like intimacy and negativity don't go together. Good sex and negativity don't go together. Mm-hmm. Connection and negativity don't go together. Mm-hmm. So it sort of becomes all the things that you really want are not possible if you engage in negative transactions. Right. And usually they are very normal things. I'd like to feel safe around you. I'd like to make love. I'd like to have fun with you. You can't do that if they're negative interactions, because you're going to go into a defensive mode, right, in a protective mode, and you'll go into a role. You don't, and even if you still take a walk, you won't really feel like you're with each other, because right, there's this wall. Mm-hmm. You don't know when something's going to come down the path. And right, so that predictability and reliability, we've become more and more aware, has to be built into the success of that process. And then I think the other thing, Helen, we need to say is that we discovered you can't just take something out of a relationship, you have to put something in. Mm-hmm. And couples are really giving us feedback on the importance of daily appreciations. This is another thing that Helen brought to our relationship. In fact, you brought nearly all of this to our relationship. You bring it, and then we talk about it, and then I take credit for it. But no, not mostly. Anyway. But Helen proposed that we do daily appreciation. So every night before we go to bed, we put something in the garden. And it's the three things that I value about you that I saw today. People that have been working with us say that the zero negativity is not enough. That sort of stops the toxicity. but it doesn't amplify the positive energy. And that you have to do something like show curiosity, be interested, give an appreciation, do something that says that that's what would be called a reaching out, reaching toward, connecting behavior that says you are valuable in my life and I love you and I appreciate you. That's what the brain needs to hear, to say, oh, I'm not living with an enemy. I'm actually living with somebody and my welfare is important to them. And now I feel safe with you. And when I feel like that you care about welfare, then I'm going to drop my guard. But if after that you stick me with a knife, I'm going to put my guard back up and probably not take it down for one time. So there has to be predictability and reliability around the negativity.
Makes sense. So since you have put the zero negativity into your relationship, what have you gotten from it? So how has it changed you as a couple?
Well, it's been very humbling.
Yeah.
It's been very humbling.
It's made us humble.
To have so many frowny faces a month staring back at us from the calendar. Just but we know we can do. I mean, we've gotten better and better. Our relationship has gotten so much better. In fact, we shared with someone about doing zero negativity and 3 appreciations a day, and they've given us the feedback. The year and a half they've been doing it. They came to a workshop a year and a half ago. He said, we've now given each other 1,600 appreciations since we started, or something like that. We've been doing appreciations at the end of the evening for about 15 years. We ought to add them up. Like how many appreciations they all have given each other. And like it's free. Like anyone can do it. And going to bed was always the time I saved to have my heart-to-heart talk with Harville about what he needed to do to change. Like, I thought I was being really thoughtful to, like, all of his other schedules. I wouldn't interfere with that and the kids and everything. But my time was right before going to bed, and it was to tell him, you know, what was wrong with him as my gift for the day. And no wonder we had to, so we now have a marriage with safety in it. Would you, how would you rate the safety level of our, I mean,
very high.
95.
Yeah, 95.
Probably. I mean, we, you know, we've learned that when we're going to be making an effort to be as committed to safety. And with safety, then there's a chance for passion to emerge, and with passion, joy. So it's a very simple equation. So our relationship is far more joyful now. In spite of being humbled still.
I think it's wonderful. I mean, I've read all your books. I practice your work with my couples, individuals, and I just love you both. You're just amazing. You're just amazing.
Thank you. And so are you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You're still evangelist for healthy relationships.
Yeah, you know, I love it. I love this work. And you know what I was thinking as you were talking, I mean, you really have a lot more energy when you're not feeling so deprived from being broken down and devalued as a human being. Because it's really hard to give from a place of deprivation and feeling not good enough. So this is so important, this work that you both are doing.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful that you didn't divorce. I'm so grateful, because we would have lost, you know. And I really try to talk with couples about that, to just give it a shot before you know, dissolve it, because there's so much hope that could be born out of the pain. So I want to thank you both for loving out loud with us today. Do you have any final thoughts for our watching audience?
Well, I wanted to say that this couple who's been reporting to us weekly for a year and a half said the last time they reported that they have been married 27 years and they're in love again.
Wow.
And that they never thought they would ever feel that loving feeling again. Yeah. And they're surprised by it, and that it's so wonderful that they have become even more careful with each other, because to lose it makes it all so much more painful. Yeah. Like when you're in pain and you get a little more, there's not all that much more hurt.
Right.
But when you've been living in the sunshine, and all of a sudden it's a thunderstorm,
right,
it's lightning bolts, it's really scary and really painful. So I think the thing I would leave is that the zero negativity is in fact the life you've always wanted, but never had. You've always dreamed of it, but never thought you could have it. And it is actually just one decision away. And then you can live the relationship of your dreams, which is looking at yourself and at your partner and everyone through the eyes of love, and that is the human dream.
And to add on, I think anyone watching this might say, oh, zero negativity, the two of them are so compatible, Harville and Helen, they just live in la la land. You know, all they think about is relationship. And so it's easy for them. And I just want to reiterate and thank you, Paula, for sort of giving verisimilitude to it. We really were so close to divorce. We may look like we're easygoing and compatible, but we had the most dysfunctional home, terrible issues with our kids. It was a blended family, and it was all so broken and hard. And this is really an antidote for any couple, those of you who are struggling the most and have lost hope and lost any faith and are in despair. We were that way. We walked that path in the middle of our relationship, and yes, thank God we didn't act at that time.
Yeah.
And became very close.
Yeah, I know that. And I remember being at several workshops, and you guys are very transparent. So I would love for you to talk about your books, particularly Making Marriage Simple, because I think that book is so awesome. I love it. Well, I have several copies in my office. You know, I give it to some couples. So maybe you can talk about how we can follow your work, and also the Making Marriage Simple, because you're very transparent in that book.
Let me say one other thing before we go to that, which is the question many people have is, well, does this mean I can't have bad feelings or express bad feelings or deal with issues? And our answer to that is that now you really can deal with your issues because they're not surrounded by this toxic energy. And the where we're going to go on vacation often turns into a negative interaction, and then you don't want to go on a vacation. But if you're caring for each other and there's zero negativity, then where you go on vacation is simply the tension of difference and doesn't have to become a source of conflict.
Right.
So it actually is the best way to solve a problem is to remove all the toxicity within which the problem is embedded. So just want to say that because it's a worry that some people have. They now have to squelch everything and stuff everything down. Right. But actually, if you do the ouch process, you get it out, and once you get the toxicity gone, then you can deal with the real issues of difference.
Right.
And we think that conflict can be transcended if you remove negativity, because conflict is just simply about a difference that you won't let go of.
Right. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Making Marriage Simple. Do you want to talk about that?
Go ahead.
Well, Making Marriage Simple was Helen's idea. She came up with the idea that we needed a book with more access than Getting the Love You Want for the non-reader, and that it needed to be with minimal theory. So the theory is in the chapter titles, and the rest of the chapter itself is about how to have a great marriage, or that is really simple, not easy, but simple.
And Harville on Oprah, that spirit is in Getting the Love You Want. But this book, we hoped to capture Harville in a workshop, and he books it in me. He's hilarious, as you know, Paula. He's just a goofball. So this book is cartoons, and we thought, No one had written a cartoon book about the horror of marriage. So that was our attempt. And so it captures this other side of Harville. So harvillandhelen.com.
Yeah, the source is our website.
You can find out.
harvillandhelen.com, and there's our schedule and access to books and everything about us.
But I'm glad you said what you did, because zero negativity, quote, the motto is, it's not you say it. You can actually talk about anything in your relationship, but that book will give you the skills on how to bring up negative issues in a way that doesn't land negatively on your partner. So we can learn that and become real Amazon relationship people who know how to love powerfully and well.
Yes. And heal the planet. I love, there's one of your videos that you talk about world peace. And that world peace starts at home. And
yes,
that we are on this is a global transformation that we are embarking upon in terms of world peace, and we're starting with the couple, you know.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you
for loving out loud with us today. Harville and Helen.
Blessings.
My blessings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and blessings back. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.